Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing another indie spotlight video. So if you guys have missed it, I do have a whole playlist of these and I will link that above. But basically, a while ago, I can't even remember when I started doing this series, but I had started to feel like I was not exploring enough new brands and that I was, just trying the same brands over and over again and getting a little bored with the brands that I had been trying. So I wanted to expand out and try some new things, and specifically I wanted to try some new indie brands because at the time I really didn't own anything that was from an indie brand. There are so many great independent brands out there. So I have had a few questions on the last indie spotlights, like what is an indie brand? Basically an indie brand just means that you can only find these products on the brand's website. So they're not going to be carried at Sephora or Ulta or at the drugstore. You have to go kind of seek out these products. They're a little bit more difficult to find. They're not as easily readily available, but they are usually owned. They are usually owned and operated in a much smaller level. I think it's great to get the word out there, and a lot of brands started as an indie brand and then morphed into being a brand carried by a large retailer. So but their roots were as an indie brand. So things like Makeup Geek and Morphe, all of those were indie brands at one point, and they are now carried at other retailers. I think Makeup Geek is now at Ulta. I think I heard that. But anyways, that is what an indie brand is. Let me grab what I'm going to be talking about today. So like I said, I really just wanted to raise some awareness within myself to some new brands and try out some new things, but I also thought it would be great because I have this platform to talk on to help these brands expand and help people know about them. So that is what this whole series is all about, and I do have a new indie spotlight for you guys today. So we are going to be talking about the brand Velvet 59. So I have two palettes here that I have been testing out. I've been testing both of these for quite some time now. You guys know how I like to do my reviews with eyeshadow palettes. I have to try every single shade in a palette before I give you guys a review, because sometimes the formula changes even from one eyeshadow to the next, so you really have to test everything to really know if you like the palette or not. So because I had two palettes here, it took me a while, but I have been testing these out. I have tried every single shade in these palettes. It is what is on my eyes today, by the way. I used both palettes to create this look, which will be at the end of the video if you want to see the demo for that. But yes, I have been trying these out. I did receive both of these for free from Octoly, so I did get them in PR. However, as you guys know, no matter if I receive it in PR or if I pay for it, my opinion is always 100% honest. So I thought this would be a great brand to do an indie spotlight on. I haven't heard much about Velvet 59. I don't know about you guys, but it's a brand that I really haven't heard talked about, so I was very curious about the quality of their eyeshadow palettes. So I do have two palettes here. This one here is called the Rose Metals palette, and this palette retails for $45. Now you are getting 8 eyeshadows in here, and they do have the little thing right here. I'll give you guys a close-up. They have the little hole right there, which makes it easy to pop an eyeshadow out and replace it with a different shadow. So if you wanted to switch out any shadows, that is the nice thing about this particular palette. The other palette I'm about to show you does not have that option, but I really enjoy that because I'm horrible at depotting. So if you wanted to depot all of these and put them like in a Z palette or something, you could do that. Or if you wanted to switch out a shadow that you're not a fan of, you could do that as well. Now this Rose Metal palette, like I said, you get 8 shades in here. The finish on all of these are all metallic, with the exception of this one here, but the rest of them are all metallic, so you don't have any mattes in here at all. And as I mentioned, this one is not a metallic, but it is not matte either. It's almost like a matte with a glitter infused in it. It's actually, the formula on that I really don't like. I have to be honest with you guys. You guys know how I am. I just come right up front. I don't like the formula of this one. The formula of every other shadow in here is the same, but this one is different. So I'm not sure what happened with that particular guy, but everything else you're going to find the same formula. They're very pigmented. They're very metallicized. Now they're not like foiled. Don't expect them to be foiled, but they are a very good metallic kind of finish. I do have both this shade and this shade on my eyes today from this palette, so those were the two shadows I used in this palette for my eye look today. I think they're really, really stunning. Before I get into my opinion on the shadows, I do want to give you a quick rundown on this guy, the other palette that I received, and this is the Biker Babe palette. So this one you are getting 9 shadows in this palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. It's a lot more neutral, but you do have that pop of pink with that hot pink in there. Now this one is only $29, so $29 compared to the $49. Let me open this again. And you are getting one more shadow in here. So I thought that was interesting that this one is so much less than this guy, even though you get one more eyeshadow pot in this one. So that was kind of strange. I'm not sure why the price is so different from one to the other. Now this one has a mixture of finishes. So these two here, this top one and this bottom one in the center row, those are both mattes. Those are the only mattes in this palette. And then all the rest of them, the one in the center here and then both the side rows, those are all metallics. So the formula of the metallics is exactly the same as the formula of the metallics in this one, which I think is nice because a lot of times, like I mentioned, I like to try every single shadow because a lot of times you find with brands that even though they have the same finish, the formula might be different from one shadow to the next. I didn't find that with these shadows. I find that all the metallics perform exactly the same, and then the two mattes perform exactly the same, and then that glitter infused matte in the other palette was kind of a one-off. I'm not sure what happened with that one. I don't like the formula of that one. As far as the formula on all the rest of the shadows, I actually really like them. They're not that unique though. I do think that I have a lot of eyeshadow in my collection that perform very similar. However, I do really like them. I think they are very, very nice. This particular palette I feel like is fairly boring with the exception of this pop of hot pink. Everything else in here is very, very neutral and you probably have it already in another palette. So I don't think this is a must-have palette for that reason because you probably could dupe everything in here, even that hot pink, because we see that in palettes quite often, those hot metallic pinks. It is very stunning though. I do actually really enjoy that color. However, like I said, I just don't feel like there's anything super unique in this one. Now getting back to this guy though, the Rose Metals palette, I feel like there are some unique shades in here. The only thing is I don't understand why this one is so much more expensive than the other one. I feel like if this was priced around the same price as the other one, I would recommend, yes, go get this. I think it's really, really beautiful and unique. But because of the price, I feel like, you know, 8 shadows, $45, you're gonna have to make a decision whether or not you feel like you need shades like this. If you think these shades are unique enough from what you already have in your collection, then you may want to get it. My favorite shades in here for sure are the two I have on my eyes today, and then I really, really love this peach color here. It is stunning. The rest of them I feel like are fairly dupeable. I feel like everyone has this kind of cranberry color, metallic color in their collection already. Everybody has like this champagne-y kind of color already. This coppery color, very dupeable. This color I think is pretty, but again, it's not one you would use a lot, so I don't know. So I feel like these three are the ones that kind of stand out to me in this palette. I am going to give you guys swatches on everything though, so you can see what they look like actually on, you know, a swatch. But alright, so overall, my overall thoughts on the actual quality of these eyeshadows. I think the quality is really good. I think they're very nice. I did forget to mention they are cruelty-free. They also say they are vegan, gluten-free, paraben-free, and talc-free. So if those are things that are important to you, definitely keep that in mind. Overall, my thoughts, I think that these are really nice. I'm really glad that I have them. I think if they're colors that speak to you, I would recommend getting them. The only thing, like I've said already, I feel like the price on this is maybe a little too high. And then this one is a little bit boring. Even though the price is better on this one, it's a little bit on the boring side. Unless you're looking for like a really good everyday eyeshadow palette, you can create so many everyday looks with this palette. So this would be a great essential palette or travel palette, something like that. But if you already feel like you have an essential palette in your collection with those basic colors, then you probably would not need this palette. So those are my overall thoughts on these eyeshadows. Let's go ahead and get into some swatches, and then like I said at the end, I have a demo of this eye look. So I'm going to start by swatching the Biker Babe palette. Alright, so these are the swatches for the Biker Babe. Now they are named on the back of the palette, so I'm going to read the names as I go. Starting at the very top of the palette, we have this shade which is called Armor. It's a really nice kind of a coppery brown shade. Right below that we have the shade Twisty. That one is the matte, and it has kind of a pink undertone, so it's like a pink undertoned matte brown. Really, really pretty. And then we have Cape Racer. Now Cape Racer, that one is really pretty. I would call that kind of more like a rose gold. It has a little bit of a pinkish shift to it when it catches the light, but it's definitely like a foiled or it's definitely like a metallic gold shade. And then this one's hard to see on my skin tone. In person you can see it a lot better, but this is like this one is a very light yellow champagne color. It's actually really, really pretty on the eyelid. I really like that one in the inner corner as well. And then we come to this shade here. Oh, by the way, that one here is called Throttle. Sorry, I can't see very well. That one is called Throttle. And then we have this one here, which is called Torque. Torque is more of a cranberry, metallic cranberry color. It's really stunning as well. And then we have this hot pink. The hot pink is called Rocket Fuel. It's a metallic hot pink, pretty self-explanatory. Oh, gotta twist my arm here. Again, this one might be a little difficult to see. Excuse my nails, by the way. I know I need to repaint them. This one is called Fresco Style, and that one is more of a pink undertone champagne color, whereas this one's more of a yellow champagne. This is more pink champagne. And then we have this other matte shade here. That one is called Harley Baby. That is a lot more of a warm tone brown matte. And then the very last shade here, that one is called Chopper. That one is so pretty. It almost looks a little purple on the eyes, but it is kind of like a dark chocolate brown with a little tiny bit of a purpley shift to it. Very, very pretty. Now I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this guy here, the Rose Metals palette. All right, so here we go with the swatches for the Rose Metal. The first swatch is the Rose Silver is the name of the shade. You guys are not going to be able to see it at all. It is right up here. That is that matte that has the glitter infused that I was telling you about. The matte part of the shadow is almost exactly the same as my skin tone, so you can't see it at all. And besides the fact that it is so similar to my skin tone, it is a very dry, patchy formula. So even if it had more pigment, I don't know that you would be able to see it anyways. It's a really bad formula. You can see a little bit of the glitter probably if you look closely. But yeah, I really dislike that eyeshadow. Next up, so the one that you can see on the top here, the name of that one is 22K. I think that one's pretty unique. It's almost kind of like a peachy gold color, depending on how it catches the light. But in person, it's very more peachy toned. Very, very stunning. This one here is the one that I have on my eye. It is called Parisian Pink. It's so pretty. I wouldn't call it pink though. I would call it more of a lavender, a metallic lavender, but it really is stunning, depending on how it catches the light. Really, really pretty. Next up, we have this one here, which is called Metallic Rose. It is kind of a cranberry color, but it has a little bit more brown to it than the cranberry in the other palette, which was a little more purpley. This one's a little more brown cranberry. And then we have this one here. This one is called Sunstone. That is a very rich orange copper. Really, really pretty again. And then we have this bluish gray, which is called Moon Landing. It's almost like a dark steely gray, but it does shift a little blue. And then we have this peach, which is called Shakudo, I believe. This peach is Shakudo. It is just a metallic peach. I really, really like that one all over the lid. And the last one's hard to see, but it is a very light lavender, a metallic lavender. And that is what I have on the inner corner of my eyes. It makes a great inner corner highlight because of how, let me put it just on my finger so you can see it. It's almost silvery, but it shifts lavender. It's really stunning. Very unique color. Like, I don't know that I have another eyeshadow that looks like that. I might have a highlighter that looks like that, but really, really pretty. So like I've said, I feel like this one is more unique, but the cost, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. If it's worth it to you, you kind of have to make that decision. This one's not as unique, but it is a good price for the quality. So that's my overall thoughts on these two palettes from Velvet 59. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this indie spotlight. I definitely have some more indie spotlights coming up. I have a couple other brands that I've been trying out, so look forward to that coming soon. And if you want to see how I created this eye look, stay tuned because that footage is coming up next. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.